Like many things in life, the games industry is often evaluated in periods of years. End-of-year awards celebrate accomplishments confined to the previous 12 months, annual press events such as E3 are seen as bellwethers of how interesting the year in gaming is, and of course, games are announced literally years before they are actually released. Why even tell me about a game if I'm going to be an elderly man or woman before I can actually play it? Sorry, I just had to get that one off my chest before we go any further. So anyway, if we're already used to dividing video games up by years, then the logical next step seems to be to give you a top 10 list of the very best years in gaming. Now, compressing years worth of history into a neat little sub-20-minute video is a monumental task that takes all manner of statistics and dedicated research teams working around the clock. Unfortunately, we don't have the budget for that, so I'm sorry to say this particular video will be composed solely of the writer's opinions. I know, I'm scared too. Overall though, we are looking for years that feature the gaming trifecta: the best games, the best consoles, and noteworthy moments from the industry. Before we begin though, honourable mentions should go out to some that didn't quite make the cut, namely 2004, happy memories, 2017, oh yes, look at these, the year that started it all, 1972, and heartbreakingly, 1997. How did this one not make the list? Suppose we better find out. I'm Peter from TripleJump, and here are the 10 best years in gaming. Number 10, 2013. It's a surprise to remember that Grand Theft Auto 5 released all the way back in 2013, especially considering it's still being released with trailers as though it's something new. Give us GTA 6, you cowards! It was this title in particular that, due to its frankly ludicrous sales numbers, gave the games industry a serious boost in credibility. Grand Theft Auto 5 not only became the fastest game to hit the billion-dollar profit mark, but it was also the fastest bit of entertainment in any medium to hit that mark. This boost helped salvage a video game market that was in a bit of a lull in the early 2010s, and so you can see Grand Theft Auto 5 as starting the push towards games being the most profitable of any kind of entertainment. Although I'm pretty sure POGs are going to make a comeback and overtake them any day now. I've invested my life savings into POGs, and frankly, you should as well. It helped too that the likes of The Last of Us and BioShock Infinite released in the same year. Not that they did anywhere near the same number of sales, but they did give the whole games as art concept a welcome boost. Oh, and minor side note here, it was also the year that PlayStation made a triumphant return to form with the PS4, while Microsoft limply dribbled out the Xbox One in one of the worst press conferences in E3 history. So actually, maybe that all sort of balances out. Number 9, 2001. 2001 was a transitional period for the industry, as not only did it see the end of Sega's involvement in the console market, but it also saw a new serious competitor with the launch of the original Samsung Nuong DVD and gaming hybrid system. Wow. Also the Xbox. Other than the tragic downfall of Sega, 2001 was pretty great across the board. It saw the release of genre-defining games such as Halo Combat Evolved, Silent Hill 2, Animal Crossing, Pikmin, Devil May Cry, Eco, and also the reason that every game today is open world, Grand Theft Auto 3. Not to mention Nintendo's excellent releases of the Game Boy Advance and GameCube. Obviously there were other notable games and moments that year, but we can't list everything that happened. If we did, this video would be 10 years long, and going by our usual rate of 3 per video, there would be 1,752,000 mid-roll ads to watch. Oh god, it doesn't bear thinking about. Number 8, 2006. To many people born before around 1975, video gaming is often considered either the devil incarnate corrupting our beloved youth, or kiddie nonsense of no consequence. But then 2006 rolled along with the Nintendo Wii in tow, and games finally got a modicum of respect from your grandma and the rest of the regular non-gaming population. Admittedly, most of them only ever played the bowling game and didn't quite dip their toes into Resident Evil 4, but still, Progress. Not only did the Wii release that year, but so did the PS3, though admittedly that was a step even below the Xbox One when it came to terrible console launches. But let's look beyond the consoles now, because on the game front, we saw the likes of The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess and Wii Sports from Nintendo, Gears of War joined Halo in the tier of instant classic Xbox games, and the Elder Scrolls Oblivion arrived to universal acclaim that still stands today. Oh, love this game. Number 7, 1998. 1998 may be the year that had the most consistently great releases on every platform. And by every platform, I mean most platforms. The Nintendo 64 was graced with Ocarina of Time, Mario Party, and Banjo-Kazooie. The PlayStation struck gold with Metal Gear Solid, Resident Evil 2, Crash Bandicoot Warped, and Spyro the Dragon. The PC Master Race got in on the action with StarCraft, Unreal, Grim Fandango, Half-Life, and Baldur's Gate, and then right in time for Christmas we got the Game Boy Color and were blessed with the likes of Pokemon Yellow and Link's Awakening DS. And then there was also the Sega Dreamcast launch, which we don't talk about, okay. Number 6, 1992. Remember when I said gaming is often considered evil for its child-corrupting nature? Well, 1992 is pretty much why. But that doesn't mean it's a bad year. I mean, it's number 6 in this list, it must be good. This was the 12-month period that Mortal Kombat hit the arcades, Alone in the Dark helped create survival horror, Night Trap appeared on the Sega CD, much to the chagrin of politicians across the land, and Wolfenstein 3D defined a whole new genre of violence known as the first-person shooter. Each one of those games had a measurable impact on releases to follow. If you ignore sports games and Animal Crossing, you'd be hard-pressed to find a game in today's sales charts that doesn't involve some manner of intense thwacking, stabbing, shooting, or explosions. Elsewhere though, it wasn't all blood and guts, with the SNES finally making its way to Europe and Australia. Though sadly, this was also the year the Atari 2600 was discontinued, further cementing the idea that one era had ended and we'd entered a new one full of punching and rude words. And I, for one, will not be part of it. I'm sticking with Animal Crossing, where there's none of this barbaric behaviour. Oh, never mind. Number 5, 1996. It's official, ladies and gentlemen. We've crunched the numbers, done the sums, and lost at least 3 interns during testing, rest in peace. But we've done it. By taking all of the highlights of 1996 and compressing them into this single entry, we have successfully weaponized nostalgia. Are you ready? Because this may hurt. Super Mario 64, Mario Kart 64, Resident Evil, Crash Bandicoot, Tomb Raider, Quake, The Elder Scrolls Daggerfall, Duke Nukem 3D, the Die Hard trilogy, Super Mario RPG, Parappa the Rapper, Diablo, plus the launch of the N64 and the Tamagotchi. Back to calm. 1996 was a defining year in 3D technology. It was also a tremendous year for PC-centric experiences, such as Command & Conquer Red Alert, Civilization 2, and Barbie Fashion Designer. Mock it if you must, but it did outsell both Quake and Doom at the time. Yes, really. And no, don't send us a copy for Worst Games Ever, because we've still got our copies from childhood, so we don't need one. Thank you. Number 4, 2007. 2007, though it often doesn't get the credit it deserves, may be one of the most influential years in modern gaming. Assassin's Creed, Mass Effect, BioShock, The Witcher, Uncharted, Rock Band, and Crysis all started hugely popular new franchises and set a whole bunch of precedents and trends that are still being followed today. And that's not even mentioning a whole host of other era-defining classics that should hopefully be playing on screen while I'm saying this. Editor, is that happening? I don't want to look foolish. While 2006 earned gaming some mainstream credibility, it was 2007 that allowed the medium to define what gaming would be moving forwards, and to set the stage stage for so many great games to come. Yes, the video gaming world was almost this year's true victor across all of entertainment media. I say almost though because this was also the year we got Dancing Spider-Man with his floppy fringe, which in truth is all 2007 will ever be remembered for. And you know what? That's okay. Number 3, 1994. Donkey Kong Country, Earthbound, Super Metroid, System Shock, Sonic the Hedgehog 3, Tekken, Final Fantasy VI, Elder Scrolls Arena. It's already a Hall of Fame worthy lineup. So how could it possibly get any better, you ask? Well, you probably already know, so I'm not sure why I'm delaying it. But, well, it's the PlayStation 1. Of course. Okay, so I don't want to start any kind of war in the comments, but the PlayStation 1 is one of the most important consoles ever. Even if Nintendo were the masters of innovation in the past, by 1994 they seemed to be innovating in all the wrong places, as it took them another 7 years to swap from cartridges to discs. So, back in 1994, it was left to Sony to push the industry forward. While most of the PS1's best games wouldn't actually come until the following years, I mean the console was released in December after all, the PlayStation nonetheless hit hard in terms of sales. And that's impressive considering it was hardly a quiet year for the wider industry. Now we don't question that other consoles of this generation are still held dearly in our hearts, not least the N64, but when it comes to 5th generation systems, it's the original PlayStation that we here at TripleJump would take a bullet for before any other. Number 2, 2000. The year 2000 was incredible for 2 reasons. Firstly, everyone was scared the Millennium Bug was going to happen and planes were going to fall out of the sky, which is pretty gnarly if nothing else. It didn't actually happen though, which is probably for the best. And secondly, it saw the launch of the best-selling console of all time, the PlayStation 2. That chunky black rectangle went on to have a ludicrously long lifespan of 13 years and debatably had the best catalogue of games ever, especially when you include the backwards compatibility. Oh, that wasn't all. The Sega Dreamcast by this point had all the gusto of a weary slug, but in 2000 it did become the first home console to feature online multiplayer through the genuinely impressive Sega Net. If we go by the omniscient deity that is Metacritic, the year 2000 is the one with the most games in their top 100, excluding duplicates. And 2000 wasn't just about great games or consoles. It was also the year that magician Uri Geller tried to sue Nintendo, claiming that the Pokemon Kadabra was based on him. You can bet your bottom dollar if we'd been doing the TripleJump podcast way back then, that would be top tier weird news. And number 1, 1986. In 1983, the video game crash almost saw the end of our beloved pixelated hobby. A glut of consoles and terrible games caused the industry revenue to drop by almost 97% by 1985. Thankfully though, the Nintendo Entertainment System reached the USA at the back end of 1985 as a limited release, and by February 1986, the plucky Japanese home console got its full release and pretty much single-handedly revitalized the market. It did debut in Japan a couple of years earlier under the Famicom moniker, but it was the US release that really brought gaming back to life in the West. The console's jump to the land of Hershey's and not using the letter U was accompanied by some classic games, including Super Mario Bros. And Duck Hunt, and later in the same year, video game fans got The Legend of Zelda, Metroid, Castlevania, and Dragon Quest, a simply incredible lineup of new IPs. 1986 was also the year that Bethesda was founded, which would lead to the development of some of the great games we've talked about today, but it also led to the current state of affairs with Fallout 76. But hey, you can't win them all, can you? And neither can we, by the way. So now that we're finished, let us know in the comments which years we were wrong about. Okay? Great. Can't wait to read all about it.